Welcome back. So we already kind of covered bootstrapping, so I think I want to continue and actually go to the feature modules. But just again, if you read this, it's again the modules, they kind of describe how the parts of an application fits together. So it's when we talk about bootstrapping, it's kind of the metadata of the application. It's how the application runs. Now, if we scroll down and we go into, we want to be more specific with these areas, they actually have pretty good explanations here, like the declaration, this application's loan component. We have imports, those are the modules. We have providers, the services, for instance. We have the bootstrap. Now, this is actually the root component that Angular creates to start and get started by putting it inside the index page. So that's kind of the launch place for our application, and normally we only have one of those. And we keep going, you'll get some kind of just a small overview about some of these and more explanatory about the areas that you can make and how you can make directives and stuff like that. Stuff we might jump into later on, but here you can kind of see the different, what belongs where. Okay, so the next step in my mind is to kind of jump into feature modules. Now, what are those about? Because that was kind of the next steps. Now we have bootstrapping, we have JavaScript modules, and now we have feature modules. We'll jump back to this guy, but what are feature modules? Now, feature modules is an organizational best practice as opposed to a concept, the core Angular API. A feature module delivers a cohesive set of functionality focused on a specific application need, right? So the idea behind a feature module could be it's a business case, like it could be a user story, even an epic story that says, I need to be able to work with customers, right? So maybe full CRUD for customers, that could be a module, and then under that there might be different areas for the customers. So we have read customers, list customers, delete customers, update, whatever kind of component setup you want. It could also be even split up even further. So we like have two modules, one for customer features where we read stuff, and one for customer features where we edit stuff, where we change names, delete customers, whatever we want to do. We might have two modules for that. Again, that's really up to you. But the feature module versus the root module is just more focused on the actual domain that you're working in. There are some examples. We're going to do that on how to make feature modules and how to actually work with feature modules. I think I'm going to jump to the next one, which is, if we jump back up here, is actually frequently used modules. And these are the modules that we actually use inside when you are working with an Angular app, the ones that you use the most. Now, the browser module, again, you can get an idea about what it's about when you want to run your app in a browser. We kind of want that in our case, so the browser module makes sense. Common module, that's kind of the one who gives you the ngIf, ngFor, all the things that you see inside your, all the directives you see inside your HTML, all the things that doesn't belong in plain HTML is coming from the common module a lot of the time. We have forms and reactive forms. I'll try and use some of those later on. I'll use reactive forms, but there's also guides about that right here under the forms if you want to dive into that. But that's if you want to have input from the user, right? You need forms. We have router modules for routing, makes sense. And then we have client module for kind of doing communication to the server and stuff like that. And then of course we also have modules for third-party modules like Firebase. We can have modules for instance, materialized design, if you want to have a UI module to help you out. Bootstrap could also be a module you use. So that's kind of the modules that you can have. So I think that's it for this lesson. We just covered two more areas, and I have one more area I kind of want to jump into, and then we can start building some real code. That's it for this lesson. Have fun.